see when we start getting some people in here. All right, we got one guy. Just hang around. We're gonna here at 8 o'clock. Just in a second, we should have Cody Axon coming on. We're gonna talk about some new Atlas Gunworks stuff, some exciting stuff, new guns, new shit. It's gonna be fun. Got two in here. All right. What goes boom? What's up, man? Y'all hang tight. Cody should be joining us any second. Oh, there he is. Cody just joined in. He should be requesting any second to join the live. And live. There he is. What's up, man?
What's up? I just figured out how to do this, so those are gonna be good.
There we go. I haven't done a lot of these either. So I thought right as I was going live, I was like, man, I wonder if he's gone live before, if he's going to request.
No idea.
Well, you figured it out fast. So good on you. So, man, appreciate you dropping by. And we're going to kind of talk about some new Atlas Gunworks stuff that you were the lucky one before anyone to get your hands on it. The new Atlas Gunworks Artemis.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure that's true. If I'm the first one, maybe I am.
You were the first one.
Mine's not officially an Artemis. It's got like, I'm not allowed to show it to you. I think I can show you like, here, I'll show you just the tip.
Just the tip.
I can show you that part.
Ooh.
Because that part's the same as the finished product. Everything else is a little, a couple small tweaks have been made. But functionally, yeah, it's the same as the Artemis.
Okay, well, I'm famous for pissing off Morgan and showing stuff that shouldn't be shown. So go ahead and show that bad boy.
Yeah, so
blame it on me. It's fine.
Yeah, no, that's all I'm showing because I don't want Morgan to come to my house and personally punch me in the face. So
break your legs. So
yeah.
If y'all don't know who Cody Axon is, he is a limited GM. You've been shooting for how long have you been shooting now?
Started in 2014, so 6 years, I suppose.
6 years, and he actually just got sixth at Nats this just past year, which is amazing. That's fire, dude.
Well, thank you.
So safe to say you're one of the best limited shooters in the country. I don't think anybody can argue that at this point. So that being said, what do you think of the Artemis? I know you've shot Atlas Gunworks guns before. I think you shot a Nemesis before. Or was it a Titan?
I shot a Titan. Here, I'm very professional. I got all this stuff ready. So I shot a Titan for like 3 years when I first started shooting limited. And that was how I got to know Atlas Gunworks in the first place, is because I just bought one because they were a great deal and had all the things that I wanted. And then last year when I joined the Atlas Gunworks team, started shooting this gun, which is a Nemesis, which is functionally the same gun as what I was shooting before. It just has, there you go. It's got it's got the sight block on the end, so it's a little bit longer than 5 inches. And then like I just showed, I'm working on switching over to the Artemis guns, hopefully, which looks something like that. I kind of can't show you the rest of it because
just the tip, guys.
It's got a prototype, one of the early alpha grips that I think they've changed a few things since then on it too. So it's not going to pass the sensors if I show the whole thing. So I gotta keep it a secret. But yeah, so I shot the Nemesis all last year, and so I've shot quite a few rounds on that, and then I got the the Artemis prototype last summer. I put a lot of rounds to that thing just because I liked it, and I wanted to. They didn't really tell me. They didn't really tell me what they wanted for, like how much feedback they wanted. So I, being the Boy Scout that I am, I did like way more than the necessary amount of homework and train with it exclusively for like 3 months or like 2 months, and only switch back to the other gun just to shoot matches. So I've got actually quite a bit of time. I think I shot 10,000 plus rounds out of the prototype gun. So got quite a bit of experience with both guns.
Awesome. So what would you say are the biggest differences? Obviously, besides the length, are there any differences that stand out between the Nemesis and the Titan?
Yeah, the Nemesis and the Titan. So the first time I ever shot a Nemesis, it immediately stood out to me how, like, just what happens to the sights when I pull the trigger. Like, very, very simply, like, everything else really feels the same. It's got the same trigger, same grip. Both these guns have the original PT grips that Atlas was using. Same trigger length, like same everything except for the top end. So immediately I noticed, basically I got the Nemesis on a loaner, and the first time I shot it, I'm like, yep, I got to shoot this gun. Like I need this gun, and I need to shoot it all the time because I just like it better. So it's not so much people think that the magic is the front sight not moving. I've never shot an island barrel gun where the front sight is attached directly to the barrel without the sight block on the end. Like Infinity is kind of the main ones that make those, I think, or at least historically they have been. I've never shot one of those. I suspect that it doesn't make as big of a difference as the sight block does, because really, like I said, the magic is not the front sight not moving. Like the gun recoil is too fast to really be able to, even for me, like I can't tell the difference. I can't tell the front sight's not moving when the slide recoils. I can't tell. What I can tell is I really think the magic is in the counterweight on the front of the barrel. It just holds the front sight down so much better. And so for follow-up shots, particularly on high accuracy demand stuff. So like the very first time I shot the Nemesis, I shot, oh, hi Travis. Travis Tomasi. I just listened to your interview earlier today, and it was great to hear from you. So thanks for watching. Anyway, so the very first time I shot it, I shot one of the Frank Garcia dot drills where you shoot 2-inch dots, try and put 36 rounds all in the dots. I think I shot like 32 out of 36, like the very first time I ever shot the gun. And it was like, oh, okay, so like this is just better. I need to shoot this. So it's hard to even really quantify unless you really shoot them side by side. There's been a number of people who have asked me and then ultimately ended up trying or buying a Nemesis and upgraded from a traditional 5-inch slide limited gun. And every person that I've talked to are like, yep, like you're right. It's better. Like you can't necessarily quantify why, but it's better.
I get the same reaction. I shot limited 2019 season and shot the Nemesis, and I came over from an island style barrel. So I noticed right away, like I was used to, I guess, the idea of the sight not moving whenever the slide reciprocates. But like you said, it was almost immediate where you're like, something's different, and it feels pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
Like it was just,
For sure.
It was different right off the bat. So would you say that the Artemis is kind of like a shorter kind of version of that? Does it feel pretty similar to the Nemesis as far as that feel goes?
Yeah. So I shoot IPSC occasionally. I shot it. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of disingenuous for me to say I shoot IPSC regularly because I shot IPSC Nationals in 2018 and 2019 to try and get a slot for the World Shoot.
Which you did, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Which I did. I got a slot for the World Shoot. I did not get on the standard team, only the top 4, and I think I was like 6th or 7th.
Yeah, they're fucking lost.
Standard is very, very competitive for U.S. shooters. Some of the divisions, it doesn't have a whole bunch of like the top pro guys who are interested in shooting it at the World Shoot internationally. Standard, that is not the case. Standard, which is the IPSC version of limited. There's a lot of top limited guys who also shoot standard and want to go to the World Shoot and compete for that. So again, I was on the outside looking in, but I still got a slot. So the big benefit for me for the Artemis is the you're not. I think it might be possible to fit a Nemesis into an IPSC box. IPSC standard is a lot like USPSA production, where the gun has to fit in a box. It's a different box. I think it's actually a little bit smaller, but there's a box that the gun has to fit into with a mag inserted. So you're not using 140 millimeter mags. You're using 126 millimeter mags with like angled base pads for the 2011 mags, because that's just how they're set up. You cannot have a big honking mag well. It's usually, I mean, it's a pretty small, like tactical style mag well on any kind of standard gun that's going to fit the box. And basically a 5-inch slide is like the max that's going to fit. You can do like 5 1/4, but then you got to chop off like the entire beaver tail and make it look really stupid on the back end. So like I said, it might be possible to fit a Nemesis in the box, but it's going to look really dumb and not like anything that anybody wants to shoot or look at. So I think, again, I'm not behind the scenes calling the shots, but a lot of the impetus for making the Artemis is because there's so many people who, you know, either internationally or whatever, who shoot, or people, you know, there's like 5 people like me who shoot USPSA and standard. So for people who shoot both, they still want a sight block gun, and that's what the Artemis is for. So I would say, you know, shooting them both pretty extensively. I just think the Nemesis, if you're after like a really soft shooting gun where the sights don't move, I still think the Nemesis, and you only shoot USPSA, I think the Nemesis is still the flagship choice for that. Like the Nemesis isn't going away. The Artemis isn't replacing the Nemesis, as far as I know. I'm not, you know, again, I'm not the head of marketing at Atlas Gunworks, but the Nemesis still definitely like is a great gun and has its applications. But the Artemis is for people like me who want the shorter gun for IPSC, and the differences are small enough that it's like I'm not going to switch back and forth. I'm going to shoot the Artemis full time, and like for me, I like the balance a little bit better of the shorter gun, just because it's kind of what I was used to prior to this. So my plan is to shoot the 5-inch Artemis full time.
Yeah, I I like the idea of it. I may or may not have one en route, at least according to Morgan. But I saw it when we were at Area 7. I got a little kind of sneak preview of one that was going up, and that's when I found out you had one, and I was pretty jealous. They were like, oh well, he's got World Shoot coming up, and you know they hinted around that you know that kind of was the driving force behind really making that gun, is when you realized you had to go shoot World Shoot, and your Nemesis wasn't going to fit the box.
Yeah,
So,
and I don't have any problem. Like I still have my two Titans that I've had for at least a few years now, that from before I was even shooting for Atlas Gunworks, that I, you know, paid my own money for, and they're still great guns. Like there's not a huge drop off. I mean, like I said, it's that kind of unquantifiable. Like it's just better when you shoot the Nemesis. Like you just feel it behind the gun. But you know, if I had to shoot the Titan at the World Shoot, I would have been totally comfortable with that too, because that's still a great gun.
yeah, absolutely. So how many rounds do you have through that thing now? Do you have
Through
to guess?
the Artemis gun,
The Artemis.
probably about 10,000. I hung up my competition guns. This, like, getting them out to look at them, and like for this is the first time I've pulled these guns out of the safe since Nationals. It was actually a week after Nationals before I even took them out of my suitcase and put them in the safe. And then now it's been whatever, like a month since, or no, like a month and a half since I took them, or since I put them in the safe, and haven't looked at them since. So I'm on a pretty serious sabbatical right now from shooting, which is what I do every year. Just kind of recharge my batteries and relax for, you know, a couple months after Nationals, and then I start getting really ready to get back into things come the start of the new year. That's exactly what I did last year. I didn't shoot, I didn't dry fire, I didn't really do anything for like 3 months. And you know, by the time January hit, I was like raring to go and ready to hit it hard again. So
Yeah, I was planning on doing that, but then I ate a shit sandwich at Nationals, and was like, okay, no off season. Here we go. I gotta prepare.
well, I was just listening to your interview with Mark earlier. So you haven't been shooting for very long, right? Only a couple years?
Yeah. This was my second full season.
Yeah. I think it was my second because I started in April of 2014. I know I trained straight through that winter into 2015. And I think the winter of 2015 was the first time I actually like told myself I was going to take an off season and actually did it. Um, but yeah, I mean, once you maybe you'll be different, but it's been my experience and the experience of most people that I know who've been at this for a while. At some point it's either you just do it hard nonstop for years on end, or you burn out, or you take a break at some point and avoid that. So
Yeah, yeah. I'm thinking that's going to be the case.
and it doesn't.
I'm pretty set on just keep on going right now. But I
Yeah,
know probably this time next year I'm going to be like in the safe. See you in a month or 2 months.
yeah. And it doesn't. I mean, it doesn't always have to be 2 months. Like you can always just. It can be like in the middle of the summer if you've been hitting it really hard from now until June, and you have a gap of a couple weeks where you don't have anything coming up. Like just put the guns away for a week and a half, and a lot of times that can really be refreshing.
Oh, we got Joel Park in here. Hey,
Hey, Joel.
how,
Somebody, many things. It's probably just many things. Uh, asked asked a good question, which is why did they make the Artemis in 9mm as well as 40? I think that was one thing that was interesting about that gun. So like the Nemesis they make in 9mm, but like for me personally, I wouldn't recommend that. I wouldn't recommend somebody getting a Nemesis in 9mm unless they just really want a boat anchor of a gun for 9mm, because it's a really big, heavy gun, and a 9mm is not a heavy caliber, so you're gonna have all this extra weight to have a gun that recoils like. I mean, I would imagine a 9mm Nemesis recoils like a rifle. Like it just doesn't do anything at all when
it
you shoot
doesn't.
it.
I've shot a
Uh,
couple of them. They're
yeah, I'm sure it feels great, but like at a certain point, like it's too much, and I would think that again, a 9mm Nemesis is not a gun that I would want personally. But the Artemis, they're doing it where for the 9mm version, we'll have an aluminum grip instead of a steel grip, and I think are they doing a different sight block on that? I think that was part of they were
I
talking about.
I believe so.
Yeah, I thought at one point there was talk of doing like a titanium sight block instead of the steel sight block on the 9mm version. I don't know
Yeah.
that for a fact, so don't quote me on that. Um, but basically, you'll have a lighter gun for the 9mm version that still has the benefit of the shorter slide and the sight block, without the extra weight of the extra long gun. Because with the Nemesis, you have a 5 inch. Basically, this is a 5 inch. My understanding is, again, I'm not the professional marketing guy, but this is a 5 inch barrel, with a threaded barrel, and then it has a sight block on the end. I'm going to
Yep.
point the gun right at the camera here. I'm going to break everybody's rules. You can't really see it, but then there's basically at the end of the threads there's another quarter inch or so past the threads at the end of the barrel. So that's a really like almost a.
We can get it
There
in
you go.
here.
Yeah, just point
Yeah.
point that gun right at my face. Good.
Right at your
Uh,
face.
so yeah, as you can see, where the rifling ends, there's like extra on the end there. And again, it's a little bit too much gun for 9mm. So I think having the shorter overall gun, I think it makes a lot of sense for 9mm. Where a lighter aluminum grip 5 inch gun is still going to control the punishing recoil of a 9mm just fine, while giving you kind of the same package, the same benefits of the sight block that the Artemis gives.
My nine hits pretty hard.
Well, yeah, maybe like a 9 major, but yeah.
What's the difference in recoil impulse between the Nemesis and the Artemis? Do you find any difference?
Uh, I think the Nemesis maybe recoils a little bit softer. So I mean, whatever that means, I don't know what any of this stuff means. People get really into like soft versus flat versus fast recoiling versus I don't know. I mean, people really obsessed with this stuff. And that's not me. I shoot the guns and I practice with them and I tune into what the gun is doing and I adjust my technique to the gun. And so I'm not like a super tune the gun kind of guy.
Yeah, me
Uh,
either.
like I was just messaging with Charlie Perez earlier, and he was talking about the Artemis. He was talking about how he really likes it, and he was talking about like some really specific things he was doing with recoil springs and magwell weights and stuff. That's not not what I do. Can you still see me? I feel like I just lost you there.
Yeah, I can see you.
Okay, your face froze on. You look very angry.
Yeah, your face is frozen too.
With
You look shocked. Oh, there we go.
uh, so yeah, I'm not like the super tune the gun kind of guy. But that said, I think the Nemesis maybe recoils just a tiny hair less. If softness is what you're chasing, but the Artemis is a little bit snappier and a little bit faster. So if you're somebody like me or like Charlie from what we were talking about, he and I both kind of like the gun to recoil faster, and so you can start kind of cleaning up the sights and going sooner. Again, not that you're ever going to outrun the recoil of the gun, because the guns recoil in like 0.07 seconds, something like that. You're not going to shoot a 0.5 split on any gun, unless the gun has something very wrong with it.
Plus, it's a little bit of hammer follow.
Yeah, but no, I like the feel of the gun being a little bit snappier. It just like for my shooting style, for my hands, for the way that I shoot, like it just feels better to me. So to me, I think the 5-inch, the shorter gun, that still has a sight block, the Artemis, it's a little bit snappier, but it still has kind of that same feel of where it still feels better in kind of an unquantifiable way. It feels better than the Titan that doesn't have the sight block, but it recoils perhaps a little bit more than the Nemesis. But it's kind of a nice middle ground where I really like it.
See, that's what I'm excited for. I love the gun to just snap and recoil a little bit faster rather than it just feel like you're just kind of plunking away. You know?
Yeah,
what I
mean? I use heavier recoil springs in my guns. Like I think I actually have not tried a different recoil spring in the Artemis yet, so it'll be interesting to see once I try. So that gun I ran exactly how they sent it to me. I did not change the recoil springs in it at all. So my answer might change once I actually use the recoil springs that I typically use. Which I think Atlas ships all their guns with 11-pound recoil springs for the 40s.
Yep.
I experiment with 14s, and now I use 13s in my Nemesis and my Titan, and I use the standard. I think it's a 17-pound mainspring they sent in them. So I like the heavier spring because I like being able to. So I'm not somebody who anymore likes to really force the gun down really hard. I would rather kind of the gun recoils and returns for me without me having to put so much muscle into it. So part of that is me using a heavier recoil spring so that I'm not throwing shots over the target. With the lighter recoil springs, I have a tendency where I can split fast enough where the second shot's going over the target before the gun even has a chance to return. And rather than me introducing more muscle to bring the gun down harder, I use a heavier recoil spring so that it comes back down. Again, like if you talk to somebody who really knows what they're talking about, they know.
I run a 12 in mine. I took the 11 out and put a 12 in it, so I'm kind of on that. I probably don't have the gorilla grip that you have. I mean, I got a pretty firm grip, but you're a large human being. You're probably on the scale of Charlie with those monster paws.
My hands aren't that big. I've seen
they're
Charlie's
just
hands.
Strong.
They're just strong. I just got strong hands.
Take my strong hand.
This is my other hand's not strong enough. This is my strong hand. I've got fairly strong hands, but I have relatively normal sized hands.
Yeah, I mean you're a big dude though. Like you powerlifted and shit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, lately my back has not been cooperating with me, so I feel like I haven't lifted anything heavy, and I mean it's been like a month, but I competed in powerlifting in the past, which I don't do anymore. It's like the first rule: if you do CrossFit, you got to tell everybody about it. So I still do CrossFit. So I do a lot of like Olympic lifting and squatting and stuff still with that. So I have a plenty strong grip to hold on to a 40.
Yeah, my grip's pretty strong, I guess, for my size compared to like probably you and Charlie, because you're bigger than me. So Charlie's obviously way bigger than me, but I powerlifted too. I thought that was pretty cool. Find another powerlifter in the shooting world, but I ended up getting in an accident, a car accident that ended up herniated 2 discs in my back. So I haven't lifted. Ooh. I actually deadlifted heavy for the first time like a month and a half ago in 4.5 years.
Yeah,
felt good. But yeah, I've just been basically trying to look pretty at this point.
Yeah.
All that
It's not working very well
It's
from the
not at
looks of
all.
it.
Not at all. It is. You
How
can
much?
polish a turd, but you're still a turd.
How much do you bench then?
Right now, last time I got on a bar was I took 275 for four. It's probably
That's
the
pretty
last
good.
time I lifted heavy.
What's your best bench ever?
Best bench suited or unsuited?
Okay, both.
Unsuited, I did 375.
Nice.
That was in the heyday. Suited, I took 405 in
Nice.
a competition at state my junior year, something like that.
For a bench shirt.
Yeah, yeah.
Nice.
To pack on another 35, 45 pounds at that point. I mean, there's people who really know how to work them who can get an extra 100 pounds, but that's not me.
Yeah.
I hated that. You just get all ripped up. Those things suck ass. But what are you putting up right now, big boy?
Oh, I mean, I know I can still bench 300 because every once in a while I'll just put it on and just to make sure I can still do it. My best bench ever. I never done with like a bench shirt or a squat suit or anything like that. I was more into the just like training for powerlifting and doing like looking at powerlifting programs and then doing them at my college gym. Like that was more my style. I did compete twice at like a raw powerlifting meet. But I was just always into the training, so I never really messed around with the bench shirt or squat suit or anything like that. So my best bench ever was 350. I did a bench like program where I was feeling really good. I think I did like 335 that day. I attempted 355. I'm like, this is gonna fly up, and then we'll do another one on top of this. And I basically just felt a bunch of stuff pop in my pec. And the guy somebody had deadlifted the bar off of me. I mean, I had a spotters. And so I never attempted anything. It took a while for that to heal where I felt normal again. Like I didn't have to get surgery or anything like that. I just had a major tweak in my pec there. And then I never tried it. So I couldn't do that anymore. I'm sure I could do. I know I can still do 300 because every once in a while I just check in and I'm like, all right, like let's make sure I can still do 300.
Get under it, press you like still got it.
Yeah, and
still got it.
I don't really deadlift anymore because my deadlift technique sucks and I deadlift pretty much. And
it's a stupid exercise.
Yeah,
and I did it the other day.
And then I like 400 is that same number for squats. Like as long as I can squat 400, I feel good. So
still putting up 400 on squat. That's a lot of freaking weight, dude. I haven't put a squat bar on my back, and I'm not going to. Not in a long time. But hell yeah, man! And then you're a police officer. Which, thank you. Right now, that is takes a fucking man to do that job right now. Let me tell you.
Well, I appreciate that. It's not great all the time. I also have access to the internet and TV, and I see the things that people say about us. And I would be lying if I didn't say that it didn't bother me when people say the things that they say about police because it's not true.
Yeah. So, it's all bullshit. It's just a bunch of whiny liberals. Anywho, we got off topic. So you obviously still work full time, right?
Yep.
Are you on a 4 and 4 type schedule, or are you kind
of? So somebody called it a Panama schedule to me once, and I guess that's what it is. If you want to look it up, it's 2 on, 2 off, 3 on, 2 off, 2 on, 3 off. So I work 7 out of every 14 days. I never work more than 3 days in a row, and I work 12-hour shifts. So that's really nice for shooting. I mean, 12-hour shifts, they suck, but you get used to it, and it's not that bad. And as a result, I have half the days of the year. So
that's nice.
So like I was on days for the last 2 years. I just started back on nights in October. Actually, like 2 days after nationals, I went back to night shift, which has been nice in some respects because nights are a lot more fun and a lot more engaging. You do a lot more drunks and TVs and meth and that sort of thing. And so it's a lot more kind of gets your blood going, your mind working a lot harder than just like, taking delayed theft reports all day and, people blowing leaves in the neighbor's yard. So that's been good. Like it's been nice kind of feeling extra engaged at work and all that stuff. But it's not as nice on my shooting schedule. So like when I was on days, it was really easy for me to, work 12 hours during the day. I'd dry fire a little bit at night, go to bed early, do the same thing the next and then my 2 days off, I'd go to the range, both days. So, I would end up shooting, for a lot of the year, I'm shooting basically seven. I'm working 7 every 4, and I'm shooting 6 or 7 out of every 14 days. So that works out really well on days. On nights, it's a little bit harder, but especially like this time of year, because I don't know about where you're at, but it gets dark at like 5 p.m. right now in Nebraska. And so if I'm working till 6 a.m., like by the time I wake up, it's like almost dark.
That and it's cold as shit where you live.
Yeah. So I'm not shooting. I wouldn't shoot right now, regardless of whether it was off season or not. And we'll see how that goes. But yeah, so that's what my normal. So as far as like working a full-time job and then also the top professional shooters in the that like my schedule lends itself really well to that, and so I don't use that as an excuse. I've talked to some people who are like, well, you can't really compete with people who do this full time or people who are in the industry. I mean, we all know who the people are. The Shane Coleys, the John Brownings, whoever you want to throw out, people who have either a shooting related job. Excuse me, let me shift. Have either a shooting related job or work for a company or somebody who's like on the AMU. It's like, some people really want to just automatically handicap themselves of like, it's not even worth trying to compete with those guys. I look at my week and like the way I look at the sport and what the sport requires and what it requires to be competitive at this sport. Like, training 8 hours a day at shooting is not going to make you good. Like that's not like eight hours every single day it's not necessary, and you're not getting the benefit of 8 hours a day versus like an hour a day.
I don't think I could train for 8 hours a day.
No, and so like it doesn't take that much time, and doing that I think would be counterproductive for most people, myself included. So I mean, so what does that leave? So you have to train for, let's just say, for example, to be competitive, you got to do. I'm just throwing numbers out there. This isn't what I do, but let's just say, to be competitive at the top level, you do like 45 minutes to an hour of dry fire every day, and you need to shoot 5 days a week. But just like to me, that's not what I do. But like, if I had unlimited time, that's probably something like what my shooting schedule would look like. Versus like right now, I shoot 3 to 4 times a week, and I dry fire every day for like 20 to 30 minutes. That's pretty good. And I don't think if I had all day to train, I would really do that much more than what I'm doing right now. So it comes down to like just be time and planning and making things a priority. So the fact that I work full time and have a full time job, like I'm not big on advertising the fact that I'm a police officer. Like I'm not afraid to tell people that, but that's not like, I'm not trying to be trying to be known as like the cop shooter. Like I'm just a guy who has a job that takes up approximately 40 hours a week, sometimes more, sometimes less, depending on which week I'm on, as my schedule flips back and forth. But outside of that, I just make shooting a priority, and
I didn't know you were law enforcement. We're on the same damn team. I didn't know you were law enforcement until I think it was either Area 4 where you won high law enforcement. I think it was Area 4.
No, I didn't. So actually, so I've signed up for law enforcement.
Limited nationals, that's what it was.
Yeah. Nationals was the first time I've signed up for law enforcement class since 2016, I think, or 2015. It was 2015 at Production Nationals. I got a plaque in the mail for like third law enforcement, and after Production Nationals, I'm like, well, this is meaningless. This is dumb. Like so I just stopped signing up, because ultimately, like, what is that? Like, what does it mean? Like, I'm not here to rag on anybody, but like, it makes sense to have a separate class for like women. It makes sense to have a separate class for like even seniors. Kind of makes sense, because there's
juniors, seniors, ladies.
Yes, there's physical differences in those groups that would, change their performance in the overall scoring. Military and law enforcement, it's like who's in military and law enforcement? Like healthy adult people who's not in another category. It'd be healthy adult males if you're not in the ladies category. So you have healthy like adult males who do jobs where you have to either have people shoot at you, shoot at people, or at very least just walk around and run around and be able to do things like that. So there's nothing about law enforcement that changes your ability to do USPSA. So that's why for the longest time I never signed up for law enforcement category, I guess, or class. What I guess it'd be category. And then this year, about halfway through, I went back and amended my my registration for limited nationals because I think my attitude changed towards law enforcement a little bit this year, where there's so much negativity towards it that it kind of pushed me the other direction, where I was a little bit more public and a little more open about it because like I'm just a normal guy. I think I'm a good person, and I try to be a good person.
You're a legit dude.
And I don't I don't discriminate against people. I donate to charity. Like I do nice things.
A good person, damn it.
I'm a good person. I'm a people person.
Yeah. You have to be. I mean,
so like to me it's like part of signing up for law enforcement
what's up, bankroll? Bankroll RJ underscore.
Bankroll RJ underscore is a cool dude. Now, see, Bankroll, you made me lose my train of thought.
I know. Damn it, Bankroll. It's all your fault.
So I was saying, I'm a nice person, and I'm a cop, and that's just what I do for work, and it's something that I take seriously, and something that I do because I feel like I'm doing a good thing when I do my job. And so I've started being more open about it, and because like I want to show myself in a good light, in a way that shows law enforcement in a good light. Like I'm just a normal guy. The guys I work with are just normal guys. Like they're good people. Like we're not out doing racist stuff. We're not out going to Klan rallies on our off time.
Are you sure?
Despite what CNN would tell you, like that's not true. And so I want to show people, that kind of aspect of myself. And it's like, you know what? I know if I for nationals this year, I know if I sign up for law enforcement category, I'm going to win it. And damn it, I want my plaque. So I wanted my plaque for once. I didn't get a plaque last year when I got 12th. I got plaques and medals the 2 years prior to that when I was still a master, because I got like second master and first master, I think, in 17 and 18.
Back when you were sandbagging?
Back when I was a master. Well, I was trying, but I just couldn't get over the hump.
That's where I'm at right now.
And so I didn't get a plaque for 2019. It's like, you know what? No matter what I do, if I sign up for law enforcement, as long as I finish the match, I'm probably going to win law enforcement. And damn it, I want my plaque. So I got my plaque this year. So that was good.
Hell yeah. Yeah, you find that this is a weird time. Like I have a lot of family. Like my father-in-law is a homicide detective in Houston. I have, other family in law enforcement. Some of my best friends are in law enforcement, and they're like the nicest people I know. Like I know a lot of cops and they're all really nice, but I also know a lot of regular people who are pieces of shit. So, I mean, it's like those people exist in everything, it's just one's public, one's not. Like I have coworkers in the past where I'm like, dude, if people recorded the shit you say, you'd be on CNN so fast, but because you're a police officer and everybody's so freaking camera phone happy, and it's all out of context too. 95% of the shit you see, they have no previous context. They didn't see that the police officer just got punched in the face 9 times. Yeah. All you see is him, wrestling the guy to the ground and putting handcuffs on him.
Yeah. And for sure there are cops who are assholes. I wouldn't say they're like you said, you work with people who are assholes. I work at a small department. None of the guys I work with are assholes. But I meet lots of cops who are assholes. And that's just how it is. But the way law enforcement is being portrayed is awful. So
it's bullshit.
Yeah.
Is Cody nicer than Joel Park? I have met both of them. Joel's a nice guy.
Joel's very nice.
Joel's a nice guy, but I feel like you edge him out only because I know you more.
Well, I appreciate that. The thing with Joel like really makes an effort, like he makes an earnest effort to be nice to everybody he meets. And I like Joel a lot. Joel and I are good friends. We don't just do a podcast together. And Joel makes an effort to be nice to everybody, even people who don't deserve for him to be nice to them. And so I like tell him like, dude, don't be nice to this person. They don't like they don't deserve it. And so to most people, I try and be nice, but I do not like if somebody wrongs me, I'm not afraid to not be nice to that person. So
Yeah, I feel the same way. I feel like if you're a dick, you should be told you're a dick.
yeah, I don't have any problem with telling somebody they're a dick. And
One of
also,
these days, we're gonna get Joel to call somebody a dick.
that will not happen. That
Joel,
will
call
happen.
me a dick. Put Bangin Brass as a dick on here. I'll give you $10.
Joel will call somebody a dick the same day that he like drinks alcohol recreationally, which he doesn't. So
Joel
I don't
doesn't drink?
not at all.
Oh man.
You booze, you lose. That's his saying.
You booze, you lose.
And
I mean, that might be my problem.
He holds to it. Yeah, he does. Joel does not drink. So God bless him for that. Oh, I was gonna say the other thing, the other aspect of my personality. So I've been a cop my entire adult life. I'm 29. I've been a cop for 8 years, and so
I thought you were younger for some reason. I thought you were in your mid-20s like me.
nope. I'm an old man. You're 26. That's not mid-20s. That's late 20s. After
Dick,
20,
it's mid-20s. No.
25
4 to
is
6.
mid-20s. No, 25 is
24 to
mid-20s.
26.
26 to 29 is late 20s, and then 30 is 30.
All right, so we're both in our late 20s. I guess we're both old as shit. You want to know someone who old? Tim Proctor's in here. He's a cop. He's old as shit.
So I've been a cop for 8 years, like my entire adult life. So that really has a certain effect on your personality. Where I used to be, like, I wasn't good at being a cop at first because I was a little bit too non-confrontational, maybe a little bit docile. Like, it wasn't like I was afraid to get in a fight with somebody, but I just like didn't want to be mean to people.
Yeah.
And so you have to learn how to like be mean to people when it's necessary. And so that's kind of something that just carries over to every aspect of life. It's kind of something that's hard to turn off. So like it's an inherently confrontational thing. Like to pull somebody over for speeding, like it's an inherently confrontational thing. Like, hey, you were going too fast, and now you're going to pay for it. And so it's again like people might not think about it that way, but it's confrontational and it's weird and it's awkward when you're not used to it. So I'm not afraid to be confrontational, make things awkward with people. And I've been told that can make things awkward for people. That I'm not afraid to be confrontational. And sometimes it's a joke. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes people don't know if it's a joke or not. So I don't know. It's just an aspect of who I am.
You're such a serious guy. The first couple times I met you, I'd like try to make a joke with you and like play around, and you would like laugh and then like say something that I was like, is he being serious or is he fucking joking? Like, I can't tell with this guy. Because it was just like, I don't know. It was like, say a joke and then you were like, I was like, fuck, he's giving me the serious face.
Well, maybe you need to consider the possibility you're not that funny.
I'm not that funny. My wife tells me that every day. I told her the other day, I said, honey, I think I could like, I kind of want to just try out being a comedian, you know, like not as a job, but just like do an open mic. And she goes, sweetheart, you're not fucking funny. Like, you're going to embarrass yourself. Just shut up. I was like, okay, fair enough. When it comes to 2011 mags for open, which mags do you recommend? For open or no? Yeah, for open. I have only run MBX. I don't know about the STI Gen 2s. I couldn't tell you. I had good luck with MBXs when I was in limited. So I stuck with them in open. What about you? Have you played with open?
No. As we just spent the last 10 minutes talking about, I'm a cop, so I don't have that open money. So I barely have limited money. So
I've got limited money to have limited.
Exactly.
To shoot limited. Yeah.
So no. I use all for 40. I use all the old school OG style STI mags that everybody hated. Because they work great in 40. Those are honestly great mag tubes. So those are my favorite ones. I have a few the Gen 2 ones, and I don't like them as much. They stack weird in 40, There might be some tips and tricks on how to make it better, but I do not have as good of experience with those. So I actually prefer the old style ones. I had an MBX mag that Atlas shipped with my very first Titan that I ever bought, and I ended up selling it to somebody else because it was fine. It worked fine, but it was different from the other ones that I was using, so I just didn't want it. So, so I've used MBX, I've used the Gen 1 2011 mags and the Gen 2, and I still prefer the Gen 1 STI mags. That's what I use.
Yeah, many things. Keep wanting to say many things. MBX. Yeah, see, I'm on the MBX train. I don't know why. It was when the first gun I bought, like the first 2011 I bought, came with, I think, 6 MBX mags. And I still have them. Like, and they worked. You know, I didn't have to mess with them. And that was before I even realized you had to tune the fucking things. I didn't even realize that until they went out of tune. And I'm like, these things aren't working. The gun's broke. And then I ran up somebody who was more intelligent than me and was like, hey, yeah, you got to tune these, dumbass. And I was like, yeah, that's probably a better idea.
Yeah, I figured out right before nationals. I don't tune my mags, which is not good. But I pick out the mags that work. So I have like 20 mags, and so I picked out the ones that work the best, and I made those my match mags. And then the ones that kind of work, I use those for practice. And the ones that don't work, I just like throw them away or set them aside in a box and never look at them. So that's my version of tuning mags. It's just like process of elimination. But I did find out right before nationals that it's really valuable if you change your mag springs every once in a while. Because I think I was running the same mag springs in my match mags for like well over a year.
You get one coil showing out of the bottom of the bag.
Yeah, and I literally, yes. And I had a couple issues with some rounds not feeding, and then I changed the mag springs, and then it's like, oh, now they work, and then my gun ran 100% at nationals. I'm like, oh, I should have done this like 6 months ago. That would have been really smart.
Yeah. That dude, COVID. That was the hardest part for me for COVID was everything went back to back to back to back to back to back to back at the end of the year. So if you had issues, you only had like a couple days to figure it out, or at least I did. So like I was having some ammo issues I didn't realize I was having, and then didn't have enough time to sort it out, and then kind of played with some things, and it was running a little bit better. And then turns out my swage rod, I thought I had backed all the way out, which it had been backed all the way out. But I think when I cleaned my press, I like raised it up and like wiped it off and then never put it back down. So my swage rod was actually widening my primer pockets. So then that happened right before nationals. So I go to nationals and it's like case primer, case primer, case primer. I was like, yeah, this is bad. This is bad. So you learn those lessons the hard way.
Yeah, I remember talking to you at nationals, and you didn't seem like you were in a very good mood.
No. I think I spoke to you like the first and the second day, and those were the rough ones. By the third day, I was like, I'm here to have fun. So I literally was just like on the stage going, who wants to bet I can do this like 3 seconds faster than everybody else? And just like full send, who gives a shit? I was shooting with Nils and his wife, and they're freaking fun people, and they're the worst influences. If you're like, hey, should I do this? If it's a bad idea, they're probably going to be like, yeah, give it a shot. I think you can take that swinger on the move for sure. I know it's 30 yards, but you can do it.
That's right. You got to go when things go wrong, you just go for raw time.
Yeah, why not? Why not?
That's what my buddy Casey Reed, that's what he always says. If he screws up like once, it could be something really minor on his very first stage. He's like, all right, raw time. The rest of the match, it's all out the window for him. Like, he doesn't actually do that, but he'd be like, all right, baby, raw time. Like, I one miss on one stage. Like, all right, this match is toast.
Chase used to be bad about that. The bearded shooter. I don't know if he's still in here, but he used to be the worst at that. We would be at a match and we would drive 14 hours, right? Like we drove 14 hours to Area 2 like 2 years ago or something like that. Or maybe it was, I don't remember what match it was, but like first stage of the day, he clips a no shoot, right? Barely clips a no shoot. And then next stage, I think he like fumbled a reload. And it was like, oh, it's all over now. Guess I'm shooting for fun. Might as well just fucking sling it. And I'm like,
yeah, it's a terrible idea.
We have 12 more stages. We drove 14 hours for this. Just shut the hell up. And he was like, oh, full send. And he did. I was like, oh, here we go.
Yeah, the number of times, like that's something that comes with experience. The number of times that I have royally screwed up the stage and thought that everything was over and I may as well just quit and like either just quit the match or just go crazy and not even worry about my scores for the rest of the time. The number of times that's happened and then I come back and still like place pretty well is every single time. So like nationals in 2019, first day went really well. Second day, halfway through the day, it was a pretty fast stage, like everything was pretty close, so I went pretty hard on it. And somehow I to this day I don't know how. There was 3 targets right next to each other at like 10 yards, or maybe 12 yards. The rest of the stage was like 7 yards and in. So I just went out to those 3 targets at 10 or 12 yards and, bah, 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 and fired 6 shots at them. And there was only 3 hits on the 3 targets. So I had 3 misses halfway through the second day of nationals on one stage after everything else. I think those might have been my first penalties of the match. And I like sat down and I just like, I wanted to cry. I'm like, this match is over. Like I was doing so well. This is like, it's all for naught. And, I pulled myself together and shot the rest of the match. And, I ended up 12th at nationals that year, which was the best I'd done at the time. I was really happy with it. And the points. So I went back on practice score where you can change your scores to do like to play IFSIC.
That damn competitor app.
Yeah, which is terrible to do. Like if you're going to go on there and be like, oh, I should have beat this person because if I wouldn't have done this, then this would happen. Like you're a douchebag if you do that because it doesn't work that way.
Nope.
What you shot is what you shot, and that's what you earned. But you can go on there and be like, okay, if I didn't have those 3 misses, what would have happened? And I think it would have moved me up 1 place. So at the time, I was like, this is going to knock me like 10% down in the match. I think had I shot all alphas instead of those 3 mics, it would have been like I would have gotten 11th, and I would have been like a percent or like I think less than 1% higher, and I would have moved up 1 place. So like that was like barely any difference on this thing that I thought was so catastrophic. It didn't really end up mattering all that much. So
yeah, I had Area 4 2019 in Houston. I zeroed the second to last stage from a broken extractor, and I was Blake Maguez DQ'd the same stage, right? And it was me and him going back and forth, and Blake Maguez DQs, and I'm like, oh, fucking Area 4 champ, here we go, right? The 0 stage from a broken extractor, and I'm thinking, dude, it's like a 120 point stage. Like I'm so far out of it. I'm not going to win my class at this point. So I go over there. Blake actually helps me fit a freaking. I think he took an extractor out of his bag or something, but he just pulls a random extractor. I was like, this ought to work, and just beats the shit out of it and puts it in the gun. And it barely functioned, but shot the last stage. Ended up shooting like 97%, and I was like, holy shit! Like you're never really out of it until you're out of it.
Until you are. I mean, sometimes you are out of it, but it's
but sometimes you are.
But if you hang in there, you're going to do better than if you don't hang in there. So I mean, like when you make a mistake, it's over, it happens, and you got to just move on and try your best for the rest of it.
Yeah, for sure. Do you run new brass for your match ammo like Adam recommends? I do. For major matches, I will run new brass. Nothing but new brass. That gets expensive really, really, really fast. So.
Do you shoot 9 major?
Yeah, I shoot 9 major. I run these shell shot cases, these things.
So you run new shell shot cases?
Yeah, I run new shell shot cases for major matches.
We got a little rich boy over here.
That would not be the case. That would not be the case if they weren't sponsoring me. If they weren't sponsoring me, I would not be running that all new. But for practice and for local matches, absolutely not. Like I've got a batch over here. I think I've reloaded like 28 times.
Yes. So I'd never ran new brass before this year. What I did do for the longest time is I would buy like once fired brass from a website. Like don't ask me to recommend one because I've used like 6 different websites over the years. Like
whoever has it.
Yeah, whoever has it and whoever has it cheap. I'll just buy it from there. So I'll use quote unquote once fired brass from whatever supplier I get and only use that for matches. Like only use it after it's been only once fired. I won't use it, clean it, and then use it again. And I had good success with that. And then leading into nationals this year, like I said, I had a couple just random ghost failure to feeds, and I'm convinced at this point just because of my really weak mag springs. But leading into nationals, I'm like, you know what? Let's just eliminate all the variables. And so I used Starline brass, like brand new Starline brass that I bought, and I liked that. And so obviously, like I said, my gun ran 100%, and I will probably be doing that in the future if Starline ever ever gets 40 brass back in stock. Because I don't shoot that many major matches. Like I shoot like I think I shot like 6 this year. Like that's a pretty normal number for me. I shoot like 6, 7 major matches a year. So you figure that, if it's let's just say it's 300 rounds a match, that's 21, for 7 matches, that's 2,100 pieces of 40 brass, which costs like, I don't know, like $400 for that. Like that's $400, but $400 to make sure that my gun runs at every major match that I go to.
Worth it.
Like totally worth it. Like that's nothing compared to the amount of money that I spend in the sport. I mean, that's what I spend on like a rental car in Florida for a week. So, I mean, it's like, what does it matter to spend a little bit more to make sure that the brass is going to work?
Yeah. I don't run new brass in my 40. I never have. That probably would have solved a lot of issues for me as well.
Yeah. It was, like I said, I tried it for the first time. I plan on doing it going forward. But it's not like that's something I've been doing my entire life that I swear by.
Yeah, for sure. So I think we have about 4 minutes left, or 3.5. So, you shoot for Atlas Gunworks, also Blue Bullets, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct. Yep. Blue Bullets. Blue Bullets was my first sponsor. In 2015 they opened up asking they wanted to start a shooting team. I was already using their bullets at the time, so I put in an application for their shooting team, got on their shooting team, and that was like the first Blue Bullets shooting team where now like everybody shoots for Blue Bullets. And so over the years, my relationship with them has evolved where I have a better deal with them now than I did before. Quite frankly. And
shooting 6th overall, you better fucking have a better deal.
And no, it's like it's great. Like my Blue Bullets, my relationship with the Blue Bullets like could not be more what I'm asking for. Like they make great products. They are at the bottom of the market as far as price, and they are like right with everybody else in terms of quality. Like they make great quality. Honestly, I think they make the best quality coated bullets for the cheapest. So like that's everything that I want. I don't need like jacketed bullets for a 40 because the coated ones work just fine.
I run coated in major, 9 major, so
perfect. So yeah, but no, Blue Bullets are awesome. They've been great to me, and I don't like that my hands turn blue says many things. Well, first of all, you need to get a bullet feeder. If you're not using a bullet feeder when you're reloading,
poor people.
And second of all, they don't turn. They did used to turn your hands really blue. And then they added like a washing process a couple years ago where they don't turn your hands as blue anymore. But yeah, just use a bullet feeder and it's not an issue. And, then, and it's worth it for the substantial price savings. So yeah, Blue Bullets is awesome.
Who else are you shooting for?
That's it.
Fucking awesome.
So yeah,
and then you have the podcast.
Yeah.
Podcast. The only one that actually cranks out episodes on a regular basis. I'm fucking looking at you, Eric Steiner. Mr. I promise we're going to do every 2 or 3 weeks. Here we are 5 months later.
Yeah, at the time, so started the Shoot Fast podcast. Joel and I do it. We were talking about Joel Park earlier. We didn't mention what the connection was. Yeah, Joel Park and I do a podcast together. We started back in 2018 at the beginning of the year. I always wanted to do a shooting podcast, and I finally looped somebody in to do it with me. So that was when we started doing it, because at the time there wasn't really very many shooting podcasts, and now in the last 3 years, like everybody, like my gardener has a shooting podcast. I don't have a gardener. I'm kidding. But no, like everybody has a shooting podcast. So maybe I'll just quit doing it. I don't know, but no, I'm planning on doing it. But it's fun. It's not for everybody because it's. I think we're a lot more serious than a lot of the other shooting podcasts because that's what I would prefer to listen to.
There's some humor in there.
Yeah, I throw a joke in there every once in a while. And so does Joel, but some people prefer the the more kind of hanging out with the bros podcast. That's not really what we do, and that's fine. Like those podcasts exist, and I listen to those podcasts sometimes. But we do the podcast that I like to do, which is we talk about shooting and we stay on topic. So I think it's fun.
Absolutely. Well, brother, I appreciate you. I think we're about to run out of time, but thank you again for coming on here. We got to do it again. And are you coming? You're coming to Dragons Cup, right? Are you coming to Dragons Cup?
I was unaware Dragons Cup existed until somebody said it on the Atlas group chat the other day. And from the looks of it, there's no way to get there from by plane. Maybe train or automobile you could. So no, I don't plan on going. It's like a 15-hour, 16-hour drive for me.
What about
Um,
Henry Cup? Henry Cup's not too bad, right? It's in
uh,
Houston.
yeah, probably not. So
Well,
my
fuck. I'll see you at Area 3.
area 3, area 4, nationals, world shoot if that happens. Probably not going to do a lot of stuff until the middle to later half of the year because I have a daughter being born in March. Uh,
Congratulations, dude.
Thank you. So that's going to kind of take up some of my time and attention, and then hopefully my wife lets me out of the house to shoot in the second half of the year. If not, I'll just leave. I mean, she can't. I'm a lot bigger than her. She
Bye.
can't. She can't hold me down. So
Yeah, what's she going to
uh,
do?
exactly.
Hell yeah, man. Well, again, I appreciate it. And I thought this was fun as hell. So we'll definitely have to do it again. But thank you again, man. And we'll see you soon, brother.
Yeah. Thanks, man. This was fun. Good talking to you.
Yep, you too,
Bye.
man. I'll call you. I'll see you later.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.